What everyone thought would just be a passing common cold actually turned into a nightmare for one woman who ended up losing her memory of the past 20 years because of it. What happened? Can the common cold really bring about memory loss, or was it just something else? Let's find out. Oh, hello there. Welcome to NAR. Last year, journalist and mother of two, Claire Muffet-Rees, caught a cold which also managed to envelop her youngest son, Max. For the next 2 weeks, Claire tried dealing with this cold, but no victory was in sight, as she apparently kept getting more and more lethargic each day. And then she went to bed the night before Father's Day. In the morning, I couldn't wake her up. Her petrified husband proceeded to call the paramedics, who took her to the hospital. But still, her condition didn't improve as she started experiencing seizures. The doctors had to place her on a ventilator. This is when she started experiencing hallucinations. I was hallucinating, quite delusional at that stage, which is quite normal if you've been on a ventilator. I thought there were wasps in the ceiling or flies were getting in my ears. It was quite strange. After this, Claire stayed in this hospital for a week before the doctors decided that she needed more intensive care and therefore had to be transferred to the Royal London Hospital. Oh, also she had now slipped into a coma. There's a point when you've experienced so much bad luck in succession, such as Claire, who's experienced worse and worse symptoms, which started from just a common cold, that you start thinking that things just can't be any worse than they are now. But whatever that was ravaging Claire's immune system, unfortunately, wasn't done with her just yet. She woke up from the coma a little after 2 weeks, only to her family's momentary relief because not long after she woke, they realized that she lost her memory. I can imagine that this wasn't quite obvious at first because she did not entirely lose her memory. She remembers her family's faces and names, but none of the events of the past 20 years she experienced with them. She doesn't remember giving birth to her children, how her wedding occurred, COVID, and even some global events such as 9/11. It's horrible, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you get people constantly saying, "Do you remember when?"
Do you remember?
Even when you show her a photo of an event she was at, she still won't remember anything about it. After the coma, she says her senses also sometimes seem to be amplified, as sometimes she can smell her medication, although at the time it would be all the way across the house. For those of you hoping that she regains her memory soon, unfortunately, doctors said that her memory should have been back by now, so there's little chance that it will ever come back. Now, what caused this memory loss? Well, although the cold she caught did play a role, it wasn't a direct cause of the loss of memory. Doctors found out that Claire's cold paved way for encephalitis. Encephalitis is a disease which brings about inflammation of the brain. This disease can stem from some viral or even bacterial infections, and yes, after you get the disease, you start experiencing flu-like symptoms, which is very scary looking at the number of times we don't go to the clinic or doctor because hey, it's just flu. Doctors confirmed that had Claire and her family gone to the hospital earlier, she would have gotten the much needed treatment in time. Looking at how expensive medical care is these days, and with not everyone having the luxury of a medical aid, not everyone has the means to get a doctor's checkup every time they get the call to see whether they've possibly contracted a brain disease. Another reason to not Google your symptoms. Or, with some relatively unknown diseases such as these, should we actually Google them?